Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is Roman Anytime Picker. How are you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great, guys. Welcome to the show.
Right. So go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, Roman, man. Tell everybody in our audience, in case they don't know who you are, tell them who you are, where you're from, and tell them what it is that you do.
Right, guys. It's my third life, so I'm getting more experience. But I'm a full-time reseller. My name is Roman. I'm a full-time reseller right now, and I go by Anytime Picker on YouTube. So basically, I sell on different platforms, mostly on eBay. Now trying to get into Amazon more, FBA a little bit, Mercari, Poshmark, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist sometimes locally.
Yeah,
And uh, and I sell variety of items, guys. You probably have seen if you watched my videos. Whoever watched my videos so far, I don't know, but appreciate you guys whoever watched my videos. I sell different things and I learn about different things all the time, which is a great idea for resellers. I mean, if you want to get into different fields, you're gonna learn more stuff and you're gonna find out which item sells for which money or how much, and you will have it in your mind for the next time. So that's what I've been doing throughout the years, and I've been reselling since 2004. Originally started reselling cell phone accessories, like cell phone cases, batteries, and they were selling really good in 2004. And eventually I started switching to computer parts. And actually, I had more knowledge in terms of computer parts compared to everything else that I sell. Mostly everything associated with computers, motherboards, video cards, hard drives, any type of networking type of stuff, because I used to work in a computer field for a very long time, almost 20 years.
yep.
So I gained a lot of knowledge of how much everything is, and I used to go to trade shows. Used to be in like early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, where we actually I used to work for a company. They used to do computer trade shows, and they would take like bunch of computer merchandise. Doesn't matter what it was, monitors, desktop computers, laptops, and they would just bring it to the different places. Like trade show would be in a different city every week. So we traveled all over United States. Like
Yeah,
I've been everywhere.
right. So if you guys didn't get that, Roman is you live in Cleveland, right? You're a
Yeah.
full-time reseller, and you've been reselling since 2004. So kind of tell me a little bit about how you first got started into this reselling thing, because back in 2004 reselling was a little bit different than it is right now. So how, I mean, were you watching YouTube videos? Did you have a friend or family member that told you about it? Because there wasn't a lot of YouTube videos about it back then. So tell us kind of how you first got started into reselling. And Roman, you're kind of popular, man. You were on with Johnny Cajun Roots Reseller the other day, right?
Yeah, Johnny is great, man. There are a bunch of very cool resellers, and they know it.
They
some
know it.
some really funny ones, some kind of not funny ones. I'm just kidding. But the thing is, in 2004, there weren't any YouTube, so there wasn't any YouTube, so you could not do anything in terms of putting your videos up. So the only way for you to advertise is to either go to the trade shows and just give out like flyers to people so they buy from you. So basically, it started out the way I started doing it. I saw how much money was involved in those like sales, because I used to work for a company and I saw how much money they made in terms of selling computer equipment, and it was really expensive at like late 90s. I don't know if you remember it. I don't know how old you are, but
I'm I'm 37, Roman. I know I don't look it, but I'm 37, so I got a
yeah,
few gray hairs on my head, bro. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm 43, so
Yeah.
I'm really old already. No,
Well, that just means you got some experience, bro. That's nothing wrong. Nothing, every day above ground's a good day. So let's just
exactly,
keep it at that, right? Because there's a
exactly,
lot of people that they've even made it that far. So
exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. You enjoy every day, you enjoy your life, and do what you like to do, and that's why everyone who likes reselling, and I love reselling, because you don't have to work for a corporation. You don't have to listen to those corporate bosses, and environment is a little bit different. It's not
Yeah.
like it's not like uptight. Like you work if you know what I'm talking about. If you work for a computer corporate type of company, it's very uptight. They kind of keep you. It's like you have something on top of your head. So to press
I, I totally understand. I remember back in the day where we used to work in a factory, and if you were in the bathroom for longer than 10 minutes, they would send someone to come knock on the door and check on you. If
I've
you were, the bell would ring and tell you this is when your lunch break starts. A bell would ring and say this is when your lunch break is over. And if you were still sitting in the break room after the bell rang, you would get called to the office and reprimanded. And so I've been there and done that. I was in a factory corporate job for 10 years. So I definitely understand what you're saying. So anyway, so you were at this trade show. You saw how much money people were making reselling computer parts, and you're like, "There's got to be something to this." And you went ahead and created an eBay account.
right. I think you got some like internet connection problem on your end. I'm not sure.
I'm good right now. Go ahead.
Yeah. The thing is, yeah, I started selling like we would go to a trade show, and it was much more difficult than going to Goodwill and pick out inventory. You had to buy wholesale, and of course the profits were not that great in terms of picking out certain stuff at garage sales, like 20% profit margin with those computer parts, because you had to buy wholesale. So I would see like how much stuff was selling for, and then me and my friend, we decided to form our own company. So we kind of separated from the place we've been working at, and we started doing our own trade shows, and take we would go to computer companies, grab whatever they would give us, for like assignment, and we would take the stuff and talk to them about percentages, and just take it to the truck and drive to trade shows and just sell it, and then
Yeah.
we'll come back and just pay them, get our money, and that's how it started working out. And then we went out, like we went to a bunch of different cities. So I mean, it's been very good until computer market, I mean, completely fell down. Eventually, I don't know if most people remember it, but computer market started to go down.
Right.
The computer parts started to be kind of more expensive, but you could have, like, instead of getting a new computer part, you can buy a whole new computer right now.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
can
you can
go.
get them pretty cheap because every year they put out new stuff every year. Like cell phone technology, every 6 months a new cell phone comes out. So
Right.
for sure. Hey, we're live, Roman. Let me say hello here to a bunch of people in the chat. Hey, you're a popular guy. I told you you're a popular guy. So I wanted to say hey to Little Debbie is here. Says hey Jeff, what's up, Roman? Wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics Keats is here in the chat. Wanted to say hey to BK from the Rockies is here. Twin Flippers is here. What's up, Twin Flippers? If you guys get a chance, you check them out. They're remodeling their backyard and putting in a new shed. Your buddy is here in the chat, Philly Flipper. He says, "Here comes trouble." You know that guy, and
Yeah, man, that guy, man, he's a big guy. He can probably,
yeah.
if Paul is he's listening, if he will give up eBay, he can go fight at UFC, man.
Oh, he can be like one of those WWF wrestlers or something,
Exactly,
right?
of course, yeah.
Right. Okay, I wanted to say hello to Shaking Trees or Catching Coins with Ken. He says howdy. I wanted to say hey to Pika Resellers is here. Richard is here. Says hey guys. Fun fact: Roman is my middle name, and I wanted to say hey to Misha Ray is here. Says Roman, you're doing great. So
Yeah,
so
Misha is
Roman, hey, I wanted to ask you a question real quick, Roman. You were at that reseller rally, weren't you? Were you there? Were you hanging out with Pika Resellers and Paul and some of those guys? How was your experience there?
It was great, actually. You have to go one day. Just if you have a chance next time when they have one, just go, because you're gonna have fun. But don't drink too much, so you can
Oh,
remember what was happening the day before.
yeah. So you got to meet a lot of cool people. I mean, Craigslist Hunter was there. Lonnie from Shed Flips. I mean, there was a whole bunch of resellers. And Nurse Flipper went there. Joey Bada Bing 22, Prison of Profit. You had a bunch of new friends that you got to meet up with. Pika Resellers was there, right? He says
Yeah,
Roman was drunk while in the time. How
yeah,
would he know? So,
yeah. See, that's
did
the
you have a few
problem,
drinks while you were there?
man. I had just one drink.
That's, yeah, if the police pulls you over, he only had one drink, guys. That's it. He only had one. So,
Well,
so
I
anyway.
only have, everyone else was kind of, I mean, sober except me.
Oh,
No,
okay.
but that was great time. I had to meet, like, I've been watching originally, I started watching um, Global Voodoo. I don't know if you know who Global Voodoo is on YouTube. Check him out. Global Voodoo, he's been doing YouTube for a long time. And then I started watching Pete, Craigslist Hunter a little bit. And I liked his videos. Most resellers probably agree with me. I mean, he's kind of been having great run in terms of creating YouTube content throughout the years. And he has a lot of experience with YouTube. And then basically after that, I started getting into watching other ones. Like before the rally, I'm sorry guys, whoever in the chat, I didn't watch most channels of, like, for example, Paul Philip Flipper. I actually seen him in a group on Facebook. There was a group, we actually part of this group. It was created, I think, by Justin RVA Flips. And I don't know if you know about this group, but this group is on Facebook, and I've seen Philly Flipper Paul there. I didn't know he was a Ukrainian back then. I thought he was an Italian. So
Oh, okay.
no, I'm just kidding. And yeah, and basically that way, after I started, I mean, after I went to the rally, I saw all of them, in person, and kind of it was only 2 days. I wish it was probably a month. That way we would have known each other better. But there is always a possibility of week, like the whole week for the reseller rally, man. It's probably
Yeah.
gonna it's probably gonna cost more money, but we're gonna know each other much better.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So,
But that was
well,
fun. Yeah, if you have a chance to go, or tell your friends who are resellers, whoever you know, it's very fun. You interact with people. You don't talk too much about reselling. You eat and drink, and just basically having fun.
okay, cool. I wanted to say hey to the ATL Flipper is here. He says, "Hey, what's up, everybody?" So, if you have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So Roman, kind of tell me a little bit about what happened with your reselling business. So you've been reselling since 2004, and you were telling me earlier before we went live that usually you go to the Goodwill bins a lot. So what are some of the items that you sell? Do you have a certain niche or a certain market of items that you look for that you try to resell, or you just sell whatever you can make a profit on?
No, like I told you earlier, and I sell everything right now. Since I started so long ago, I started learning about different types of niches, like different things. And originally I liked to sell computer parts because I know all about them. So if I go to computer store, I would know right away which brand is really good and which brand is kind of sells faster. And eventually, with computer parts, the problem was that people, whoever the buyers, they would receive a computer part, they'll do switcheroo, if you know what
Right.
switcheroo is. So they will replace their motherboard with similar motherboard, and they will open up return case and say this motherboard is bad. So I
Yeah.
actually would go back to them and say that this motherboard is brand new and it's under warranty through the manufacturer. And they
Yeah.
started to get mad, saying, "No, it's not working. We want to return it." And I had to accept some returns, not all of them, but there was a lot of problems with computer parts. And that's basically one of the markets where you may get a lot of different returns. It's like one of the problems with selling computer parts, because people would receive it and claim it's not working.
Yep.
Because you know why? Because some of those parts are more expensive than if you sell like a pair of shoes, or if you sell like a book or a movie, like a media CD or clothing. It's much more expensive. You would sell one motherboard, for example. I sold a couple last year, gaming motherboards. They sold for almost $500, just one motherboard. So
Right.
people will receive it and say like it's not working. So they will do switcheroos and send you a different brand, and you have to prove to eBay that they are doing switcheroo, and that creates a lot of headaches.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I've shipped out items in the past on eBay that I knew it was brand new when I shipped it to them, and then they would send a message say, "Hey, item was not as described. The item is not working. It was damaged." And I'm like, "It was brand new in the shrink wrap when I sent it to you. How in the world was it not working when it was brand new in the shrink wrap when I shipped it to you?" And then they would open up a case and want to return it, and I'd get it back, and it would be open and used. So it's like maybe they was like a DVD. Maybe they watched the movie, then they turned around, put it back in the case, and they shipped it back and wanted to return it and get a refund. And I was just because I was knowing I was like, man, I sent you a brand new item, new in the shrink wrap. I don't know how it didn't work. So I definitely understand that sometimes those things like that can happen.
It's not just with computer parts. It's with like VCRs or dual decks, like VCR
Yeah,
DVD deck. You will ship it out, and the person says like VCR part of the deck doesn't work. So you know for sure you tested it. So what I started doing, I don't know if you're doing it with electronics like VCRs. I started to put like a photo in my listing with a TV while it's connected to the VCR, and I just show that it's connected and the movie is playing on it. So if they come back to you and say it's not working, you can show proof of the photo that it was working to them. It doesn't mean that they cannot return it. It's just gonna look kind of stupid for them to claim it's not working when they received it. You can of course tell them something got damaged in shipping, but it's still, I mean, it doesn't change anything. As you know, eBay mostly sides with buyers, and if they claim item not as described or defective or broken, they will still take, I mean, you have to take the return, even
yeah,
even if you don't accept returns.
yeah. I understand. Yeah, I try to keep my cost of goods pretty low. Like maybe I'll pick up a TV remote like this for 50 cents and maybe sell it for 20, 25 bucks. But then if something does happen, if they need a return or it gets lost in the mail or something happens to the item, worst case scenario, I'm out 50 cents, and maybe the shipping cost. So you just try to mitigate your risk. And then if the customer opens up a return, usually 9 times out of 10, I don't have any problems. But every once in a while, people will open up a return and want to ask for a refund, or they'll say items not as described. But let me say hello here to a few people here in the chat. I wanted to say hey to ATL Flipper is here. I wanted to say hey to Keith is in the chat. The Flippin' Sports guy is here. And we had a question here in the chat from the ATL Flipper. He wants to know, what has been your biggest flip, Roman? So what is like your biggest flip that you've had so far on eBay?
I had a lot of big flips actually throughout the years. I remember I picked up a Dell desktop computer from one of my, it was like a computer company here in Cleveland, which I actually used to kind of get stuff from them. And I bought like a Dell desktop gaming from them for like 50 bucks, and I sold it for $800. So
Really?
that was one of the bigger ones I had, because I mean the guy who actually was it was one of those computer companies. They actually sometimes would call me and they say, we get RMA. You know what RMA is, right? It's a return.
Go ahead.
RMA is something like if the customer brings it back to the computer shop, RMA is called return merchandise. It's like shortened for like RMA.
Yeah.
And they will call me and say like, would you like to test it? Because sometimes they don't want to test it, and I tell them like I would come in there, test some stuff, and I will just ask them if they want to sell it like as a like bulk, the whole thing. Like they get like video cards, hard drives, memory, and other computer parts, and they will just sell it to me cheap because they don't know if it works. So basically, I'm taking a risk of paying them cheaper and buying those parts not knowing if they work. So I buy it and I test them myself. And then most of the time, 80% of the time, 80% of those parts work.
Yeah.
And some don't. So the ones that don't, I can still sell them for parts, because people they still buy computer parts in a not working condition. So
Yeah.
that's why this computer field, it's kind of good in terms of sales because you can sell them either working or you can sell them not working. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of still sells. Like, for example, I actually am gonna post. I'm really behind on my YouTube videos, man. I just was listing a lot of stuff lately, and I recently I was at a garage sale last weekend, and the guy he was trying to get rid of his he had like bunch of computer parts. So I came to the garage sale, and he had like bins full of computer parts. So I asked him how much he wants for them, and he told me $5 for each of those bins, and he had like 4 or 5 bins full of stuff. So of course I said no problem because for $25 I got all of it already. I mean, I brought it and tested some of it, and I already sold one motherboard from the deal for like $40 because
Yeah.
I mean it sold right away. I listed it yesterday and it sold today, and I already kind of covered the entire purchase
Yeah.
because
So
everything was $25.
yeah, a lot of those electronic parts will sell. There's a guy here locally in Tampa, and he sells computer parts like motherboard parts that go to TVs. So maybe if the TV gets broken, it has a certain serial model number that it's attached to it. So if someone brings their TV in for repair, they got to have a certain motherboard that lines with, let's say it's a Sony, 4K TV or whatever. They have to have that exact serial model number that goes with it. So if you're out there looking and hustling, don't overlook, electronic parts because those stuff will sell. People will even buy parts. Like I said, even items like this, like little remotes or little parts or pieces or little motherboards, you can flip them and resell them. We have a question from Little Debbie. She wants to know, do you sell on eBay and Amazon? Do you sell on other platforms besides eBay?
Yes, little Debbie. I sell on Poshmark, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. Actually, I started recently selling on Facebook Marketplace. The reason why I started selling recently is I was kind of, afraid to start shipping stuff on Facebook Marketplace because of issues with returns. And, I know for sure, most likely, sometimes it doesn't matter which platform it is, but on Facebook Marketplace, I think it's kind of not protected yet in a way where in my personal opinion, I mean, all resellers are different. In my personal opinion, it's not completely safe yet to ship stuff on Facebook Marketplace. So I do locally. I sell stuff locally, and I meet some buyers just basically after they purchase something. But I haven't been listing on Facebook Marketplace a lot, not cross listing to it. On Mercari, I sell some stuff that I cannot sell on eBay, like medical stuff.
Right. I wanted to say hey to a few people here in the chat. We have Dixon's Pixons is here in the chat. Little Debbie, Javela Flips, Annie is here. We got Paul Philly Flipper is here in the chat. We have Nakoma Finds is here. We have the Chosen Goods Reseller is here. And my buddy is here. Kelly Reseller Louise is here in the chat. So I wanted to say hey to Kelly Reseller Louise. The ATL Flipper is here and the Flippin' Sports Guy and anybody else on the chat that I missed. If you guys have questions, you should go ahead and drop it in the chat. Paul made a comment. He says, if I can find it, he said something about rumor has it Roman is doing a 48-hour live starting tomorrow. Is there any truth to that or no?
Only with Paul. Next time, they actually. Did you watch their 24-hour listing thing?
No. I kind of work my regular day job. I work at night and I'm sleeping during the day. So between that and shooting YouTube videos and running my 2 eBay stores, there's only so many hours in a day. But I try to make my rounds and comment every day whenever I get a chance. But how did that go? How did this 24-hour live go?
Man, they actually did a great job. I mean, I would have fallen asleep and died.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually started at 9 a.m. yesterday, and they finished in 9 a.m. today. And I tried to go in there, but yesterday I decided to turn off. What happens when I'm in a live? I'm trying to interact a lot, and it takes away I cannot list. So I had to turn off my YouTube entirely. And yesterday I listed 45 things right away because I mean, like not right away, but I listed a lot yesterday because I mean I turned off my YouTube entirely. So
There we
yeah,
are.
yeah.
Go,
Sorry, man.
go ahead.
You keep disconnecting.
I'm back. Go ahead.
All right, yeah. So I actually had to turn off YouTube yesterday because I knew if I'm gonna be in their 24-hour listing, I'm not gonna do anything. So I actually turned off YouTube entirely and actually listed 45 things, which is kind of rare for me. I mean, I barely do like 20 a day because I have to go like to the gym and go outside, play with my son a little bit. When I used to play soccer until I completely broke my knees, I was really good at soccer. So
Yeah.
trying to teach my son to play soccer more. But I
Yeah.
mean, I cannot do what I used to do when I used
Yeah.
to play at high school. I used to play in high school. I used to play for varsity team, and eventually I played more and more, and I tore my knees, both knees, so I cannot run like I used to.
I understand. Yeah, I used to play football when I was younger. I played high school, and then I played some semi-pro football. But when you're 25 years old as opposed to 38, 40 years old, it's like it's two different things. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about how do you go about managing your time and your schedule, because you're a full-time reseller now. You're shooting YouTube videos. You're posting items on eBay, and then you still got to spend time with your son, and you're shipping items, you're listing, and like you said, you're trying to go to the gym, you're trying to stay active. How do you kind of balance everything with your schedule?
Well, I usually like to start listing early. I wake up early, and I just start shipping. First thing I ship stuff, and lately, thankfully, thank God, actually I had a lot of sales. Like a couple days ago, I sold like 20 things, and I had to package like 20 something packages. Some of them were really big. So like every day now I started selling more stuff, which actually was good last year also. Like during pandemic, I was selling a lot of stuff, but I wasn't active on YouTube yet, and I actually was having time to actually do a lot of stuff. But now, since I actually started a YouTube channel early this year, I try to concentrate, to try to have time to edit the videos, and then I start shipping listing, and then when I get to my videos, it's usually like around 10 p.m. and I cannot look at the monitor, so I have to wear those types of glasses, like those. It's
Oh
like
yeah, I see it.
anti-glare. Yeah, I cannot because I cannot see. I'm looking at the monitor, and my eyes start tearing, and I cannot concentrate on editing the video. So I have
Yeah.
to do it in the morning. But when I do it in the morning, I start shipping late. So that's why I kind of trying to balance it out right now because it's important. You know it too. Some people have jobs, so they have time to actually balance it out. Some people have full-time jobs and two jobs, and they still have time to balance everything out. So it's not an excuse. Everyone has to have time. If they like to do that kind of stuff, they need to find time to do that stuff. So that's important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you may not succeed, most likely, or you'll succeed, but it will take time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. ATL Flipper says, want to know if I played semi-pro football, what position? Yeah, guys. Back in the day, I used to play for this team, and when I was in Kentucky, it was called the Louisville Bulls, and they were a semi-pro team. We didn't like get paid like a salary, but it was for players that like went to college and maybe they played college ball, but they weren't good enough to get drafted in the NFL. And we played against other cities, and I would travel and we would go to Ohio, Indiana, Tennessee, Alabama. We would just travel to other cities, and we would get on it. We'd have a big charter bus, and I was a big defensive tackle. And my job usually 9 times out of 10, my job was there would be two big offensive linemen, and both of them weighed 325, 350 apiece. And in a split second, you got two 350-pound guys flying at you, and your job was to kind of clog up a hole in the middle so
I
the
know.
running back couldn't get through. And a couple of times I would get my hand on the quarterback and grab his knee pad or grab his ankle or grab his jersey. And it's kind of hard to do that when you got two big 350-pound guys that coming at you, and they're got you by your jersey and they're trying to push you back. So yeah, back in the day, I played 2 seasons for them, and that was like kind of like between like right around college age years. And then when I had to get a real corporate job when I was working for General Electric, I couldn't make the practices because I had to be at work at the same time they had practice. But it was awesome, guys. If you ever get a chance to go out and do it, man, I just remember there being a big loudspeaker and you would run out the tunnel. They would be introducing you and there would be a bunch of fans in the stands. After the game, you'd be signing autographs for little kids. One time, this little kid comes up to this guy and he says, what position do you play? And the guy says, oh, I'm a kicker. And he says, a kicker? I don't want an autograph from a kicker. And he throws the autograph on the ground and walks away. But we had a great time. Like I said, when you're walking through a stadium and it's full of 1,000 people, you know, they're calling your name and number on the loudspeaker. You're going out to a dinner, out to a restaurant with the team after the game. You're signing autographs for kids. You're in the bus traveling. We had a great time. So, but anyways, our guest here, Roman, I wanted to talk to you a little bit earlier. You're talking about going to the Goodwill bins. Now, what exactly items is it that you, because I've been once or twice, I haven't been lately, but what kind of items do you look for at the Goodwill bins? Do you do a lot of clothes? Do you look for shoes or electronics? Like, what are some of the items that you look for at the Goodwill bins?
It's actually not Goodwill bins. It's bins, Amazon bins type of store.
Okay.
You probably have seen some YouTube videos of some resellers going to Amazon bins in different states. Goodwill bins I also go to sometimes, but it's a little bit different. But I look for everything. Like today, for example, I found this guy. You guys know who this is?
Baby Yoda, right?
Yeah, well, he's not a baby anymore. He's too big. And
yeah.
He makes noises. If you hear it, yeah. So he's in a pouch, like inside of the like small bag. So those types of things I like to get. In the Amazon bins, you'll find them brand new. In the Goodwill bins, you can also find them brand new sometimes, rarely. But those types of things. I mean, and I found a couple days ago, I found this. This is Kobe Bryant, Lakers jersey. You guys know who Kobe Bryant was, and I will keep it for myself.
Oh, okay. You're not gonna resell that?
No way, man.
No,
Kobe Bryant, man. That's one of my favorite players. Him, Michael Jordan, man. I think, in my opinion, one of the best that NBA ever had. So
yeah,
I will keep that one. But LeBron stuff, for example, in Cleveland, I find it constantly. I find LeBron James jerseys. They're actually not selling that much. I mean, they do sell if they're Lakers, because he's playing for the Lakers now. But when he used to play for Cleveland and he won a championship here, used to be the value of his stuff used to be really high. But now after he left Cleveland again in like 3 years ago, I mean, the value has dropped. So I still find a lot of stuff, and I mean, like bobbleheads and also in terms of what type of items in the bins. In the bins, for example, you can find anything. You can find electronics, you can find clothing, purses. We had actually, my mistake today was I walked into the bins and there was like there was other resellers there, which he also has a YouTube channel, but not as big as other resellers around the United States. But what he actually found, he found 8 purses. Vera Bradley, you know who Vera Bradley is, right?
Mm-mm.
Vera Bradley, she makes very good like clothing and purses. So he walked in, and I didn't pay attention because we walked in together, and he like right away he saw Vera Bradley purses, and he usually goes to shop with his wife, so he has advantage. So they go in, both of them, and they go to different parts of the bins. So that's why it's good when it's husband-wife team. When you got 2 people, they walk into the bins and they start walking in 2 different directions, and they see like right away they see different stuff. And when you're alone, you walk in and you just start grabbing stuff. You don't look at things. You just look at certain brands. So basically, he grabbed like 8 Vera Bradley purses today, and they today is a $10 day. So basically, how it works, Fridays in our area, in our bin store, it's $10 for each item in the bins. Tomorrow, Saturday, it's gonna be $5. So today is the most expensive day. So usually when it's most expensive day, they replenish their inventory. So they'll bring new stuff and put it in the bins. And it's all $10 in the bins. Whatever is not in the bins is priced differently. So basically, whatever you find in the bin is $10. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is. So everything else is like different price. So he grabbed like 9 Vera Bradley purses, and they sell for around $40. And usually this inventory, which the bin store, our bin store gets, is from Target, either Target or Walmart clearance. So every week, like one week, I would get lucky and grab a lot of good stuff. Next week, as the reseller, will get in there and just grab a lot of good stuff, and I will get some stuff, but it's not as great. But still, I'll make money on it, you know.
Yeah.
But we all help each other. For example, if I find like quantity of something, I would share. I will give him some, you know, and sometimes he'll give me some stuff, and that's how we work in terms of uh, helping each other. You know,
Yeah.
that's actually really good.
Yeah, I found a bin store not far from my house recently, and it was like one day is $5 day, then four, then three, then two, then $1 day, and so they'll rotate it like the price goes up and down. And could you tell people how they can find like an Amazon bin store or find one of these bins or liquidation stores in a neighborhood near them? Because it's not always easy to find. Would they go on Google and type in Amazon bin stores, or what do they need to look for?
Yeah, usually if you type in like bins, it's gonna be the easiest to type in on Google. It's like Amazon. It's not called Amazon bins. Each owner, each state has their own name for them. In Cleveland, we have two different ones. We have Crazy Bins is one, and there is another one. I think it's called Bin Treasures. I have it's all different. They actually completely different because Bin Treasures only has Amazon returns. So if someone returns something on Amazon, they just buy pellets and they just put everything in the bin. And it's also like has different dates with different prices. And the one I go to, it's not doing Amazon anymore because what was happening, people would go into this bin store, and you know how Amazon returns, you don't see what's in like outside the box is just a brown box, so you don't know what's inside. So people started, opening boxes, and they will just take stuff out and then just don't put it back, and they put everything back like in a bin without a box. So that's why they stopped, because they
Yeah.
don't want people to open up each of the boxes and look inside. So they started buying Target and Walmart clearance and Home Depot.
Yeah.
With Home Depot it's really cool because with Home Depot you get tools, and you get some any type of those bigger type of accessories for any type of home repairs and stuff like that. And some of them are, of course, are salvage. You know what salvage is, right?
Stuff that's been returned, that's junk, right? Salvage parts and stuff. It's been like when you guys have customer return products, there's different grades. There's like grade A, there's B, and then some of the stuff that's salvage is just junk. So on the ticket, it's going to say it has XYZ retail price, sticker price, but in reality, 75, 80, 90% of the stuff may not even work. It may just be stuff you can use for parts. But go
Correct.
ahead.
Salvage, basically, sometimes in those stores, I talked to the owner of the bins. He says sometimes salvage, it doesn't mean it may not work. He says sometimes they will not just test it out because they don't have time. Person like whoever buys it, like I would buy something and go to Home Depot and say it doesn't work, even though it may. I mean, I just need to get my money back. So they just don't test it, and they just put salvage on the box, like put a
Yeah.
sticker. So those types of things go to the pellets, to the distribution centers, and then they just sell those pellets. And someone who buys those pellets, like for the bins, the owners of the bins, they buy huge like amount of those pellets. So
Yeah.
they buy it, and then they got employees, and they just dump all those pellets into those bins. And that's
Yeah.
why it's kind of complicated sometimes. You have to. It's like no, kind of no reasoning of where everything is. So when you go into the bins, some of the bins will have only clothing, and sometimes they will put like some items under clothing. So you have to basically lift the whole like stuff of
Yeah.
clothing and throw it into other bin, and there are a bunch of people running around because
Yeah.
in the bins it's crazy. Especially on the like first day when they replenish inventory, there are a bunch of resellers. They just start getting in and they just run. They just don't look even like you grab a cart and you. I mean, I have my videos on my channel which I actually posted from the bins already in the past,
Yeah.
and I will have more in upcoming weeks. It's just you have to grab a cart and then you run
Yeah.
to like start, getting grabbing stuff. But it's
Yeah.
more like it's normal. I mean, everyone got used to it. It's not like something abnormal. It's just
Right.
sometimes you can grab something, and I actually found some sharp items in the bins. You can, if you don't, if you're not careful and you lift something sharp, you can cut yourself really badly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thankfully it hasn't happened to me, but I did cut myself one time, and I actually left because I was bleeding from my
Yeah.
hand. So I couldn't find. I asked the employee to give me a band-aid. And
Yeah.
they said no, there was blood, so they had to remove some stuff. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like something unusual. It happens. It's just you have to be careful.
Right. Yeah. I totally understand. Yeah, guys, when I'm talking about like there's different grades of this stuff. Some of the stuff is like grade A. It's like shelf full stuff that maybe like Roman was saying, it's at Walmart, it was at Target, and after a certain date, they only have a limited amount of shelf space. And after it sits on the shelf for a certain amount of time, they already tried to clearance it out. They already tried to move it. They couldn't move it. It's shelf full items. It's still brand new in the box. There's nothing wrong with it. They just have to move it. Then they have stuff that's in like maybe customer returns. It's kind of in the gray area. And then the salvage stuff is stuff that's just been, it's like run over by a truck. It's like you have no idea what kind of condition it's in. Most of the time it doesn't work. You can kind of use it for spare parts. But let me say hello here to a few people. We have Nikki Pink Thrift is here in the chat. Wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics. We have Michael Liss is in the house. He says, hey, Russian. And he wants to know, are you from Russian descent? And I wanted to say hey to Urban Foster is here from Australia. Javela Flips Annie is here. Philly Flipper says, which is better, Bosch or Panini? You know
Yeah,
the answer to that?
actually, both are good. If you ever tried, did you ever try Russian food?
I have not. No.
If you, well, if you ever try Russian food, you'll most likely you'll like it because I mean, Russian food is like really delicious. Everything mostly. I mean, you cannot even pick out. And to answer my question about whoever asked if I was Russian, from Russia, no, I'm not from Russia. I'm from. The problem is sometimes I have to basically explain every time, like Russia itself is a Russian Federation, which is a country on its own. It's a separate country right now. I didn't come from Russia actually. I came from Uzbekistan, which is part of Soviet Union. If you know your history, the Soviet Union was really a large country, and it contained some of the other countries inside of the Union. It's like basically the United States with states, but Russia had like bigger states. So when it fell apart, when Soviet Union fell apart, Russia actually was its own. It was own country, and it's like it's really big. And Uzbekistan, where I came from, it was a part of Soviet Union, which was a country inside. And when it fell apart, Uzbekistan became separate country. Same as Paul's Ukraine, where he's from. Ukraine, Belarus. There is Moldova is another country. There are other parts of Asian countries closer to China and some other countries which were part of Soviet Union. Even Poland
Mhm.
was a part of Soviet Union one time,
Yeah.
and some other Scandinavian countries were part of Soviet Union. So because you know why it happened because of World War II. After World War II was over, they started dividing countries. Europe, basically, some parts of Europe became part of Soviet Union, and that's after that they basically started to separate, and eventually Soviet Union fell apart.
Okay.
And Russian Federation is really big. I mean, there are a bunch of people who come from Moscow or St. Petersburg. They're from Russia. So I cannot, like, sometimes everyone would think if you speak Russian, you're originally from Russia, but it's not the case. It's just part of Soviet Union was in Russia, which
Right.
is Soviet Union before. But
So
now it's not. I mean, everyone in their country speaks their own language.
So, Roman, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about reselling. Can you give us any other tips or tricks or any other places where you go sourcing at to get inventory? Because I was watching your videos, you do a little bit of a house clean out, and you had to clean out that hoarder house. Tell us a little bit about that. Some other tips or tricks of places where you go sourcing to get inventory to resell.
Yeah, mostly I like to go to garage sales right now and during summer, because in the winter time in Cleveland, garage sale season starts. I mean, our garage sale season actually starts in June in Cleveland because it's so cold outside that people don't do garage sales until June, almost like middle of June. Sometimes if it gets warmer in May, they'll start doing it in May. But I like to source at garage sales because that's where you get cheaper stuff and sell it for higher profit. Most of resellers know it. Bins is another place I like because at the bins, not just Goodwill bins, just Amazon type of bins, you get a lot of brand new stuff, and those are easy to list, and they sell fast. Like if I get something in the bins, for example, on Friday, I would sell everything by probably Tuesday of next week because everything is brand new, and it's most of the time stuff that I get is like it has very good sell-through rate. So I look it up before I get it to see if sell-through rate is good. So it
Yeah.
sells faster. And estate sales I usually go on the last day, on Sundays, because estate sales usually most of guys in the chat know it too. I mean, you would not get a good deal on first 3 days. They start on Thursday, and usually you get there on like Friday. Try to make a deal. Of course, if you buy it all out, they'll give you a deal. But if you're just buying like two things, they're not gonna give you any deal usually.
Right.
And,
So
and
go ahead.
Goodwill bins is another place I used to actually go and get everything by the pound. Mostly, not clothing items. Shoes I will get. I actually like selling shoes. And used to I mean, I like to actually sell VCRs in the past, but now like VCRs are actually really good sellers, especially when you have remote. You list a VCR with a remote, it sells within a couple of hours sometimes.
Yeah.
Same goes with VCR DVD deck. Sells in like couple of hours if you have a remote. If you don't have
Yeah.
a remote, you can buy it on eBay and just put it together, and then it will basically factor in your cost.
Yeah. So Roman, can since you've been your full time job being a full time reseller, what would be maybe 2 or 3 tips that you can give our audience to help them make more money and resell it?
Tips to try to get something that, I mean, if they can move something faster and get it cheaper, some items that have a good sell-through rate, that would be one of the tips, of course, because if you find something that you like to sell, but it doesn't have a good sell-through rate, it may not sell right away. So you have to sit on it, which is not the problem. I mean, you can sit on something. If you find something like vintage or antique, you can actually sit on this thing if you buy it cheap. Like you said, you buy something for $1 and it sells for like $100, maybe 40, 50. You can sit on it a little bit because it's cheap. I mean, you don't have a lot of money invested. So the tip is if you get something in terms of higher price anywhere and you try to move it, if you paid like $100 for like it doesn't matter what it is, any type of equipment or piece of clothing. If it's something more expensive, like expensive brand, you'd like to get your $100 back almost right away and get some profit. So you want to sell that faster. So my tip is, if you, in terms of how much you find stuff for, if it's cheaper, you can sit on it if it sells for higher money. But if it's something more expensive, you try to move it faster. That's the way I think, in my opinion, that you need to do stuff. Because like if you watch a lot of different YouTube videos, some YouTubers would find really expensive type of items, and they try to move them as fast as they can, because I mean they need to recoup their money invested. So
Yeah.
which is important, and you will probably agree with me. And make money on top of it, and then reinvest it, which is another tip, to reinvest money into buying more stuff, but don't go into hoarding. Because I know, like, if you keep I mean, I even buy a lot of stuff all the time, like, even though I don't have time, I have some dust piles that I have to get to, like sports cars. Like, for example, I bought let me show you, at one garage sale I bought this entire book. It even has a price sticker on it, as you can see,
Yeah.
$10, and it has a bunch of football cards. Like, I don't
Right.
know if you guys see it, like different players, and I got it at the garage sale for $10. Actually, sorry guys, I paid $5 because I'll make a video about it on my channel. There was a
Yeah.
lady, the lady there at the garage sale. I asked her if she can do $5, and she agreed. And now I'm not that familiar with this stuff yet. I actually have to research. It has a bunch of, like, probably, I think, 20 pages with
Right.
full football cards from, like, Pinnacle, and I'm not sure which years, but it got some good players in here. I already looked at it. Some very good players in this binder. And this was not from, like, how you go to garage sales sometimes, and you would see, like, people selling cards, and they want like $25 for the box. This
Right.
was this was not the case. Whenever you can find sports cards, and you see that it's not really a person who is trying to make money and just sell them to you, not knowing that you know something about cards or not, they're trying to sell it to you. If you find this kind of stuff uh, from the person who didn't collect, that's better than from the person who collected, because
Right.
if the person collected them, they want to get their money back most of the time, which is not the case mostly. But
Yeah.
and same with Pokemon cards and Magic cards. I'm still learning this market. It's kind of, one of those cards can bring you good money,
Yeah.
and one card can be worth like $100. You never know.
Yeah. So Roman, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me today, man. Tell everybody where they can go by and check you out on YouTube and Instagram. Let them know. I have your links down below in the description, but go ahead and plug yourself, your YouTube channel.
All right, guys, you can find me on my Anytime Picker channel, and whoever hasn't checked out my channel, please do so. I really appreciate it. I will have more videos coming out. I was lagging really badly on my videos, and I'm trying to edit some videos and post them, and I'll be doing it longer videos. But I've been doing two sold products videos, like,
Yeah.
regularly. Every week I post like two, maybe three,
Yeah.
and those are easier for me to post, because I mean they are short, and I don't have to put like a lot of time into editing. But I'll do the videos on my channel. My Instagram is my first name and last name, and I'll
Yep.
put it.
I have all the links down below in the description below if you want to go by and check our guest out. I already subscribed to his channel, so go ahead and show him some love and subscribe and go by and check him out. I wanted to say hey to a few people here in the chat. Wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics. Keith is here. Wanted to say hey to Javela Flips Annie. Ebliss Reseller Solutions is here. Says hey guys, love tuning into these interviews. Thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with us today. I wanted to give a shout out here to Kevin Vasquez Reyes is here. We didn't have time to get to everybody's questions, but I appreciate everybody for coming by and hanging out. Nikki Pink Thrift is here. And I wanted to say hello to Paul Philly Flipper here in the chat and anybody else in the chat that I missed. So, yeah, go by and check our guest out. All the links are down below to his YouTube and Instagram. You go by and follow him. He has more videos coming out soon, right?
Yes, I'll be making more videos, posting them, and so I'm trying to post interesting type of content. Usually, I used to go to Goodwills and just find stuff. Most resellers do that all the time, but that's
Yeah.
how it is. That's how it is. I mean, you
Okay.
can do so much. Sometimes
Yeah.
you try to find something interesting. But I watched your previous live with Amber, and you actually were talking about how you don't want to be like flashy and put like a title in there that you found like 10,000 items for like $1, something
Yeah.
like that. So I don't usually do that. Also, I'm kind of tweaking it a little bit, but that's how those types of videos bring more views, man. That's how.
I understand. That's how the game works. You got to have to kind of click. They want you to show a little leg. They want you to do a little bit of clickbait. But I'm just not. I mean, it's cool. Everybody just does their own thing and does what works for them. Roman, do you have any final words of wisdom that you can leave our audience with today?
Yeah, I really appreciate everyone who has put so much work into making YouTube videos. This whole reseller community, teaching people throughout the years different types of things, and it's a lot of work. And I really appreciate it, not just for me, but for everyone whoever's watching your whoever's videos on YouTube. It's really helpful. And also, I try to watch as many videos, and I actually subscribe to so many YouTubers already that I'm trying to watch all those videos, and I'm kind of also lagging. But I'm watching you guys. I just wanted to make sure that you know I'm watching, and I'll be watching and leaving comments.
Awesome, guys. So if you guys want to come by and hang out tomorrow afternoon, I think it's going to be 4 p.m. on Saturday. I have a brand new guest coming for you guys. It's the selling sniper is going to be here. So he's a full-time reseller, and he'll be here on Saturday afternoon. Till then, you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Right, peace out.